Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eric Carter. I'm coming in from Dallas, Texas. I don't know where you guys are from, but I see so many familiar faces. Matter of fact, coming off this weekend was phenomenal. I don't know how many of you guys made it to Dallas, Texas, but it was wild. It was crazy. David Nevis was there and his wonderful wife, Brooke. She was giving us some tapping sessions so that we can realign our bodies and begin to focus and get rid of like past habits and negative thoughts, negative behaviors. That's some wonderful stuff, some wonderful tools that we actually use. We had people there, they were laughing because there's some great speakers telling jokes and being funny. People were crying because of their personal experiences and things. If you guys were not there, you missed it. I highly recommend that you guys start coming to every single event that you qualify for, regardless of whether it's your team or not. But David Nears was there, and Brooke was there, and Dr. Tony zoomed in, Alex zoomed in, Jorge zoomed in. It was great. Michael Beal was there. It was funny seeing a big guy like that begin to cry on stage. It was absolutely wild, but it was a lot of fun getting a chance to connect with people in real time, in real life. And that's what this business is all about, guys. You're really making these real relationships. And through network marketing, through direct sales, through vital health, these are relationships, guys, that we're going to have forever. Forever, ever, forever, ever. Damon Coleman was there, him and his team. James Leonhardt, obviously, and Daniel West came in with some great tips. It was phenomenal. I know that we've got new events coming up this year. I hope that you guys can attend those things, find a way, because you get so much out of it. People in levels of leadership, they just pour love and knowledge into you. So if you're there, you get to feel all that. You get to be part of that. And then you get to walk away from that inspired, and you get to walk away from that motivated. Guys, over the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about some things that I think it takes to be either successful in your vital health business or unsuccessful in your vital health business. And one of the things I want to talk about is the thing that really holds most of us back. The one thing that holds us back, typically, guys, is fear. We're afraid of things that we shouldn't really be afraid of. But a lot of our habits that we've taken with us over the years have made us who we are. We face some challenges that were uncomfortable. Some of those challenges we either plowed through or we shied away from, but those challenges help define who we are today. And some of those things are still in the back of your mind, and they're what you use on a daily basis to process information and live your life through that filter. And so you find a lot of people in direct sales living their life by accident, and they're certainly building their business by accident. They don't take the time out to be delivered a purpose to become successful in this business. They don't do the mindset training. They don't read the books. They don't jump on the trainings. They don't jump on every single Zoom. You may have jumped on 50 different presentations with Vital Health. But that 51st one, you get something new out of it, and that something new out of it takes you to that next level. So you got to do that anyway. But what's causing people to have fear? What kind of fear are they facing? Some of the types of fear that they're facing, some of the types of fears that I faced was the afraid to get started. Like because you don't know where to start, or you're comparing yourself to somebody else out there who's has tremendous success right out the gate, and you're not getting started the proper way. I know Keith Williams does a wonderful training on not on mindset, but on preparing the launch, not just on launch training, but preparing yourself for your launch properly. And if you missed that training, it is recorded in the Vital Health catalog of AM Powers that you can go back and watch, and I highly recommend that you do. But people are often afraid to get started. Even I was afraid to get started. I was afraid to let go of what I had. Like many of you guys, or at least some of you guys, I was in a previous company where I was comfortable. Wasn't rich, wasn't wealthy, but I was one of the top performers in that company. And when I was offered this opportunity, I didn't know what to do. It's dealing with the devil you do know versus the devil you don't. And Keith Williams, my personal sponsor over here, he was saying, man, he was like, think about all the things you don't like about that current company and what you hope to find in a new company. What's holding you back? And I had to think about that. I know that me and Keith are good friends. We're great business partners. I know we work well together. We have different approaches to leadership. I know his compliments mine and mine compliments him. But at the end of the day, I just still didn't know. I just didn't know. I looked at this compensation plan with matching bonuses and volume and 17 or how many different ranks there are out there, and like how to get them, how to balance them. Are the products going to work? Are they any good? Are they packaged well? Can the company stay together? All those things that are self-doubt, I could have easily used any one of those things to let go and hold me back. Easily. I very well could have. I've said it before and it bears repeating that if there's something you don't want to do, any excuse will do it for you. Any excuse you can come up with is going to work. Any excuse you use to validate not doing something is going to help you not do it. The key is to remove excuses. The biggest excuse I see from so many different people is call avoidance. You jump on these Zooms, you jump on these presentations, you jump on these trainings, you hear all these leaders talk about, man, I had to call this person, I had to call this person, or I called this many people 50 different times, I called 100 different people, and this is what I got out of it. And because of call avoidance, you never want to pick up the phone. I'm going to say do it anyway. That's the difference between being disciplined and being motivated. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. But when you're disciplined, you do things anyway, even if you don't want to do them, just because you know doing it is how you get it done. Call avoidance is a struggle for so many different people in network marketing, particularly for amateurs. You hear them say, man, I called up everyone I know and both of them said no. And then they're done. Well, we all know more than two people, but you just got to continue to go through. You just got to continue to sort. You got to continue to do those things that are uncomfortable now so you can get good at those things until they're easy later on. One of the things about me as my background in the military, I can tell you that there's a lot of times, guys, that I was not motivated to do something. Like I didn't necessarily want to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go run 3 miles in 18 minutes. I didn't want to do those things, but I did it anyway. That's discipline. When you're in this business and you're trying to figure out what you have to do, what you want to do, don't worry about how it makes you feel. Do it anyway until it becomes uncomfortable. People get call avoidance. They say, what if they pick up the phone? Then what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? I don't speak as well as Brian. I don't speak as well as Keith. I don't speak as well as Michael Bill. What am I going to say that's going to add value to my prospect? So they're afraid to pick up the phone and get started. They're asking themselves what they're going to say if they pick up the phone. What if they don't pick up the phone? And you never call them back. And then somebody else calls them later. I can tell you when I was in my last company, people outside that company looked at me and said, man, he's so successful, he's never going to come over here. There's about a half a dozen people that I know right now in this company that never reached out to me when they joined this company. Great products, great compensation plan, great company with distribution and everything else. And they should have known, like, man, I've got something this strong. Let me share it easy. But call avoidance and fear, they never called me. And so today, here it is, May 29th, 2025. They've been in the company for 6 months or longer, and they never called me. They didn't find out I was in this company until they saw me post my diamond photo. Getting diamond was 50,000 in volume. To get 50,000 in volume, you got somebody like me that brought in 50,000 in volume, and I was the person that brought it to you. That would probably push you to diamond, if not double diamond at that point. You're only one person away, guys, from being extremely successful. I see Amber saying her fear is rejection due to the stigma of DS. We're all afraid of being rejected, including me. Oh my gosh. Even being on the Zoom, I'm afraid of things. I'm like, how am I being judged in comparison to the other guys that do the power training? How am I being judged in comparison to those guys who are not diamond, but I'm on the same stage as double diamonds and triple diamonds and red diamonds and purple diamonds? How can I compete with those things? I have a certain amount of fear too, but I do it anyway. And I encourage you guys to do it anyway. They say there's a distinct difference, guys, between bravery and fear. Bravery and courage, rather. Even though they are similar, they're different. So you can define bravery as the quality or state of having a strong mental and moral strength to face danger. Fear, difficulty, quality, state of being brave. But they sound the same, but they're different. Here's bravery. It's the ability to face danger or difficulty without fear. It's instinctive oftentimes and it's immediate. Like when a firefighter rushes into a burning building without hesitation. That's bravery. They do so much training, they do it anyway, they do it through discipline, that when something happens that requires them to be brave, it's immediate, they don't have to think about it. Courage is similar, but you have the fear and you recognize the fear, but you choose to act properly despite it. It requires this inner strength of deliberation, like standing up for what's right, even if it's unpopular or risky. So I'll give you a short example of two people that have been in my businesses over the years. One guy's name is Lenny Clark, and I got a lot of respect for him. He was brave. He operated without fear in this business. I remember when I recruited him, I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm looking at the way you dress, I'm looking at the way you speak, I'm looking at the fact that you don't have this and you don't have that. And I'm judging Lenny Clark, and I shouldn't have, because he became my #1 rep in that company. Lenny Clark did. I was recruiting people that drove Lexus and Cadillacs, CEOs and vice presidents. I was recruiting those caliber people, and Lenny Clark didn't have any of that kind of stuff. But Lenny Clark was brave. Lenny Clark was brave. He didn't know that people were going to judge him, or he didn't care. And he talked to somebody every single day. This was before Zooms. This was when people really wasn't walking around with cell phones. But Lenny would hang out in a Barnes and Nobles every single day. He would meet somebody brand new, shake their hand. He'd introduce himself. Hey, my name is Lenny Clark, and I'm a business person, and I would like to talk to you about my business. And he would sit down with them at the bookstore, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just long enough to pique interest. Then he called me on the phone at my office and asked if I could meet somebody with him at Denny's. That was back then, in those days. Again, we didn't have Zooms and those types of things. And I would go to Denny's, and I'd sit down and I'd start drawing circles on a piece of paper. And I would explain to Lenny's prospects, and I look sometimes at Lenny's prospects, I'm like, why are they talking to Lenny? You could tell they got it going on. They're eloquent, they're educated, they dress well, they look presentable. They're the kind of person that I would love to have in my business. But how did Lenny get a chance to talk to them? And so many people on my team didn't. Well, Lenny acted brave because he didn't know any better. But he was still successful. My #1 guy was a guy that if you saw him somewhere, you would pass by him if you were prospecting him. If you were out prospecting, you see Lenny Clark and you see somebody else, you would go to somebody else. If you stopped at a gas station, you saw Lenny Clark getting out of his car with the steam rising out the engine and the treads off the tires, you would not talk to him. You might go talk to the guy with the Lexus looking all good, but Lenny Clark was the guy that could put into action those things that he wanted done for himself, and he did it without fear. I think he didn't know the difference. I don't think Lenny Clark knew how to fail. I don't think Lenny Clark accepted failure as an option. I know how much he wanted it. That's bravery. He faced that danger, he faced that difficulty, he faced those challenges, guys, instinctively, without thinking about it, and he did it consistently. Then I'm going to tell you about another guy. I'm not going to tell you his name because he's in this company now. And I can tell you guys, he had every reason in the world to give up, every reason in the world not to continue, every reason in the world not to go forward, every reason in the world not to build this business. I remember meeting him in another organization, and he and I became friends because his upline basically abandoned him. His upline felt like he didn't have the skill set, he didn't have the appearance, he didn't have the capability, he didn't have nothing but heart. Nothing but heart. And when he went to his upline for help, and they said, man, let me see your list. Who you talk to? How many people you talked to today? How many people you talked to this week? How many people you talked to this month? How many people did you talk to already? And this guy brought out a list of hundreds of people that he had spoken to. And his upline said, man, if I had to go through that many people to get somebody in my business, I would have quit. This brother got a heart this big, heart this big. And I remember saying, man, let's figure out what you're saying and what you're doing and see if we can do it better. I know you're not on my team, but let's see how we can do this better. And I remember we would go to the mall and I would sit at a Barnes and Nobles. And while I'm sitting at a Barnes and Nobles, I would say, now what I want you to do is just go walk through the mall, introduce yourself, and ask somebody if they would be open to an opportunity. And naturally, I gave him a couple spiels that he should say and do that. And I'd watch him go out there, try to give his business card out to people. And we would call it bumping. Like where he would find somebody brand new, bring them to me, I get the presentation, try to get into the business. We call that bumping. And I remember he would give out about 100 business cards. No, about 1,000 business cards. Because he ordered about 1,000. 1,000 business cards every week. And people told him no all the time. And I remember how one particular day he came to me, and while I'm sitting in the Barnes and Noble waiting for him to bring me somebody new, he put his hands in his face, and these tears poured down his face. And I was like, what's wrong, bro? He's like, they don't even want to shake my hand. I'm telling you, he had every reason in the world to quit. Not out of bravery, but out of courage, he kept going. That means he knew he was afraid. He knew that it was difficult, but he just kept building. He just kept trying. He just kept doing those things that are uncomfortable to do until the point where it became comfortable. He wouldn't even care anymore. Like I see him, I see him talking to people now that I'm afraid to talk to, right? He don't even care anymore. But he did it because he was courageous. He went through thousands of people at a time, getting kicked out of one mall, getting kicked out of another mall, getting kicked out of another mall, saying, don't ever come back here again. And he just kept building. So in short, bravery is action without fear, while courage is the action despite the fear. And I'm telling you guys, he's going to become a diamond, if not a double diamond or a triple diamond, by the time we get to San Antonio in October, because I see it in him. I've seen his growth. I've seen the type of people he's able to recruit now, and I'm watching him do something that nobody else probably would have thought he was able to do. And even his upline in that first company where he and I met before quit on him. But even though his upline quit on him, his sponsor quit on him, he didn't quit on himself. There's two types of people that you'll see in this business. Some are fueled by motivation. And I almost hate motivation. And I hate a part of it because it's fueled by emotion and it comes and it goes. It sparks action, but it's unreliable. You always hear people say, I'd rather see ignorance on fire than knowledge on ice. And yeah, there is some truth to that. There's some value to that. But being motivated is easy to get, but it's also easy to lose. When I was talking this Saturday at the event, I was talking about, military experiences, being a Marine, all that other kind of stuff. And motivation is one thing. Motivation is one of those things where you wake up in the morning, January 1st, and say, these are my New Year's resolutions. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to work out. I'm going to rest like I'm supposed to. I'm going to spend more time doing this. I'm going to pick up a new hobby. And they wake up motivated. And they go to the gym. They pay money to get a 5-year membership at the gym and maybe even hire a personal trainer. And they do that because they're motivated. And then by May 29th, following year, they haven't gone back to the gym in over a month because they didn't have the discipline to keep it going. I'd rather be disciplined than motivated. I'd rather have one guy that's disciplined than 5 guys that are motivated anytime. Discipline is built on habits. It's built on commitment. It ensures that you take action even when you don't feel motivated. It's the force that keeps you pushing forward regardless of how you feel. That's what discipline is. Discipline is like being committed. What's commitment? Commitment is doing the things that you set out to do long after the mood in which you said it has passed you. At that point, you do it anyway. At that point, you do it anyway. If you're disciplined, you can face your fear. If you're motivated, as soon as you get afraid of something, that motivation is gone. But if you're disciplined, you can face your fear. You can say, okay, what's my plan of action for today? I'm going to make 5 phone calls between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. I'm going to make 5 more phone calls between the hours of 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And you do that every single day. That's 10 phone calls a day times 30 days. That's 300 phone calls in a 30-day period. By that time, you're probably diamond. If you can be that disciplined, ladies and gentlemen, you can be very, very successful. You just can. But why aren't people doing it? Because they're afraid. They're scared of things. They're afraid and they're scared of things. My grandfather told me a story, and I heard it repeated here recently. He said, if you're standing before somebody, there's only 2 things you got to worry about. Only 2 things you got to worry about. Whether you're healthy or whether you're sick. Well, if you're healthy, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you're sick, there are 2 things you got to worry about. Whether you're going to get better or whether or not you're going to get worse. Well, if you get better, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you get worse, then you got 2 things you got to worry about. Either you're going to get healthy or you're going to die. If you get healthy, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you die, there's only 2 things you got to worry about. Whether you go to heaven or whether you go to hell. If you go to heaven, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you go to hell, you got 2 things that you got to worry about. It's whether you're going to be plagued by nightmares that you've had your entire life that probably never ever came true. Things that you worried about for nothing that never really bothered you. Or whether you're going to be plagued by unfulfilled dreams. Those goals, those wishes, those dreams that you always wanted to have, always wanted to do, always wanted to accomplish, but you never did them. And why didn't you do them? Because you found excuses. You found a way to not be like Lenny Clark. You found a way not to be like the guy that's in the Zoom. And I don't want to tell his story because I know at some point when he walks across the stage as a double diamond, triple diamond, red diamond, he's going to tell his own story. But people have these dreams and they just don't see them through because they just can't get the courage that they need to face their fears. Give me, guys, one person that's disciplined over 5 guys that's motivated. And I promise you that together, we're going to change the world together. If I got disciplined people beside me, if you have disciplined people that you recruited, if you got disciplined friends out there, you'll go much further ahead than if you don't, than if you just got those people that come and go. And I know we all got them. We all know them. They joined the business. They bought the platinum package and they jumped on a Zoom, and then the next week, they're not doing anything. And then you got the guy that says, man, all I got is 200, but I'm going to do it. And he came in with 200, got the bronze package, and then he made a little bit of money, he upgraded it. Then he made a little bit more money, he upgraded it again. Made a little bit more money, he kept upgrading. That's the guy that's committed to getting through the things that he said he was going to do, right? That's commitment. Some of you guys on the Zoom, I wish you had the level of commitment and the level of discipline and the level of belief that your upline has in you, that I have in you, so that you can get there a lot faster. I will say that being on this Zoom right now every single morning shows a level of commitment that encourages me to believe that you guys who are on the Zoom are going to be successful, that you have what it takes, that you really are enough at the end of the day. There's 10 reasons why someone becomes successful in network marketing. Number 1, they do consistent action over time. If you want to write these down, feel free to write them down. Consistent action over time. They treat network marketing as a business and not as a hobby. Success comes from daily efforts and everything that revolves around network marketing, prospecting, training, and team building. Success is not about what you do today. Success is about what you do on a daily basis. So find out what you're good at, make sure you do that, and find out those things that you're not good at and become better at those things, and then do them on a daily basis, and you'll find yourself being successful in this business. Number 2, learn to master relationship building. Top network marketers excel at connecting with people authentically, right? They expose their real selves. They become vulnerable. They become vulnerable from the stage. They become vulnerable in their why. They share it with people, and they focus on trust and long-term relationships, not just making quick sales. The people that are successful in this business have brought people with them from other businesses where they failed at, and they failed before that, and they failed with that. But because of the long-term relationships, and they know that people care about them, like they say that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When they know how much you care because you've been finding out things about their family, been dealing with them through life, and you guys encourage each other, and you're not just caring about whether or not they get a big package or a little package, and you're taking time to develop and foster those relationships. Successful network marketers do that. The guy that I'm speaking to you about today, who's in this company right now, he and I have been friends for about 15 years. And with the exception of once, if I went to a company, he came with me. And I remember when we were getting started, I was like, man, we didn't have success at that last company. You were not in my team. I'm about to join this new company, brother. I want you to be successful. Why don't you sign up first and I'll sign up underneath you? And he was like, man, I ain't leaving that company. And because of that, I ended up signing up, and he came later, and I became one of the top earners in that company as well. And he could have been one of the top earners too, but he was afraid to take step at that time. And the reason why he's over here is because our relationship over the year has shown him, man, that I'm committed to always building and always helping him. And I'm always authentic in what I do. Number 3 is strong leadership and mentorship. Inspire and guide teams. I don't care if you have a team of 3. I don't care if you got a team of 1. You got to create a culture, motivation, education, and accountability partner. One of the things I do in this business, guys, because I know I'm not the number one guy in the company or any company, is I always try to find A, a mentor, and B, an accountability partner. Somebody to help me be better, and somebody to help me help my team become better. Strong leadership and mentorship is number 3. Number 4 is resilience and mental toughness. Successful network marketers understand rejection is part of the process, and they don't let their setbacks shake their confidence. They just adjust and keep moving. Resilience and mental toughness. If you don't have it, develop it. Get so many no's out the way that they become easy. I still get no's. I get people to tell me not only no, but heck no. They're never going to do one of those pyramid things. Is this MLM? I get the same things that you guys get. I just keep it moving. And I'm going to tell you guys, successful people do. Number 5 is clear vision and purpose. I know my why, and I know why I'm building my business. For you, it may be financial freedom, it may be personal growth, or it may be a deeper mission. Purpose fuels persistence. I can tell you when you're a Marine and you get out the Marine Corps, after having all of that responsibility and all that camaraderie around you, you got to come back out in the civilian world. You need a new mission. If you don't, you do what so many of us veterans do, and we succumb to PTSD and depression and anxiety. We need a new mission. If you got a mission and a vision strong enough, you'll walk through a brick wall to ensure it. You'll walk through a wall of fire to ensure it. You'll do what it takes. If your why is big enough, like they say, your why will make you cry. Your why should make you fly. Your why should define why you're in this business. And once you do that, understand that your why is not going to make you successful. Your why is going to keep you going, but your business is going to be built by the whys of the people on your team. Why is that? Because if I'm looking out at James Corbett, for example, and James says, man, I don't want to keep going. I don't know how I'm going to keep going. Howard Pearson says, I don't know how I can do this. I've exhausted everybody I know. If I know James Corbett's why, if I know Howard Pearson's why, I can say, James, you told me the reason why you joined this business was because you wanted to retire your wife, or you wanted to leave a legacy of wealth for your kids. Have you found another way to do those things? Is that why you're not moving forward? Because now I know his why. Right? I could take it personal for everybody on my team. I know why you're building this business. Have you done that? Have you found another way to get what you want to go? No? Then man, we gotta get you back in here, man. So, because I want you to be able to retire your wife. I want you to be able to live your retirement in dignity. I want you to be able to retire your kids. If I know your why, my why isn't important. Your why is, I'm going to work with you based upon what's important to you. Even when I'm prospecting, I'm finding out people's whys. Like, now that you want to do this business, why do you want to do this business? I want to find that out. Because having clear vision and purpose will ensure that you start and then you finish. That you commit and see it through. Even when you're no longer motivated, you keep on going. Knowing your why and knowing the whys of the leaders on your team is going to help you be successful. Number 6 is commitment to learning and improvement. We continually refine our skills in sales. We continually try to increase our communication skills. We continually read books on personal development and leadership. Commitment to learning and improvement. I don't know everything. I don't. I wish I could say I did, but I don't. So what do? I continue to try to get better. I continue to go to different events and listen to different speakers, and I hear their stories, and I think to myself, aha, that's something I was dealing with, and I can get better at it this way. Or I got somebody on my team that's dealing with that, and I can help them get better at it by sharing it with them, even though they didn't make it to the event. I'm always trying to do better. Number 7 is duplication of systems. I look at James creating systems and I'm just mind blown. And he's keeping it simple, he's keeping it duplicatable, and then he makes it available for every person in this one team. Duplication of systems. We know that system stands for save yourself time, energy, money, and stress. Follow the systems, these simple blueprints like David Neves' book, Success Systems. I keep it right here in front of me. It's a thin book, but it has so much powerful information, and I look at it nearly every single day. When I'm sitting in my computer, I pick out another page and I go through it, and then I reflect upon it and I think about it. And systems like that's going to help you be successful. Number 8 is effective time management. People run out of time. And why do they run out of time? Because they don't make time. Effective time management. Structure your time wisely. Balance your recruitment goals on a daily basis, your training goals on a daily basis for your team, and your personal development without getting overwhelmed. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Some people can do 3 or 4 hours a day. Some people can do 3 or 4 hours a week. But set that time aside to do it and practice effective time management. And I promise you, that and discipline will get you where you need to be. Number 9 is something that I've got to get better at. Again, I look at my strengths. I look at my weaknesses. My strengths, I absolutely embrace. My weaknesses, I have to develop those things by doing them anyway. So I'm going to encourage you guys to embrace social media and digital tools. How do I do social media? And I'm almost done. I do social media probably differently than many of you guys. Many people put a post on their Facebook page, hoping that people see it and click on a link, or they post something on the page and hope that it works. Well, guys, it's like a billboard with a lot of traffic going up and down the street. It doesn't really work that way. How do you maximize Facebook? Here's a tip for you guys. People on Facebook post things that are important to them. It ain't important to me, ain't important to you. They post things that are important to them. If they've got a kid that just took 3rd place in a relay race, they post it on social media, what should you do? Well, obviously you should click like on it. You should click like on his page. Why? Because it's going to increase your social media engagement. It's going to raise up the algorithm so that he begins to see more posts on your page. So you click like on that, because that's a wonderful thing. If this kid hits 3rd place and he or she is proud of that fact, you should be happy for him. Do that. And then what do? You continue to look at the pages of your friends to see what they're posting. Some are posting about what their cats did that's funny. Some people post about what their kids are doing in school. Some are posting about the new job promotion that they just got. Continue to click like on those things. When you see something that you genuinely like, make a comment on it. And then pretty soon the people on your social media begin to think that you're just like them, and you're not just trying to recruit them into your business. You're developing real relationships at that point. It doesn't matter what you put on your page. That's important to you. What they put on their page is important to them. And then you got to recruit people into this business based upon what's important to them, not what's important to you. That's a whole training that I've given to people. And I promise you that I've gotten a whole lot better at it, even though it was my weakest area. And then lastly, and then I'll let you guys get off the Zoom today, is to take ownership and responsibility for your success and your failures. Don't blame other people or external circumstances. Own your own actions. Own your own mindset. Own your own results. It's not the fault of your upline for not answering the phone calls we need them to. It's not the fault of your upline. You got a certain amount of responsibility too, and it's your fault if you fail. It's your fault if you succeed. Take credit for both. Don't just take credit for the good, take credit for the bad. Take ownership for it. You own your success, you own your failures. Truly successful network marketers understand that. If I can't get what I need from my sponsor, I can go to my sponsor's sponsor, who also has a financially vested interest in my success. But at the end of the day, I got to look and answer to the man in the mirror, and so do all of you. True success in network marketing isn't about being lucky, guys. It's about discipline, it's about leadership, and it's about persistence. Which of those three things do you see as the most important for your own growth? And with that, guys, let me say it truly has been a plum pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege, to be your inspiration, hopefully, this morning. And hopefully you guys got something out of it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, not just at the top, but over the top, as I see you guys all at the next event.